So guys, mkoaje? Welcome back to our channel. Leo na address watu wangu wa US na anybody mwenye ana reside abroad na angetaka kurudi Kenya take advantage of tax exemption on vehicle importation. So I think unajua si kuingia hii mambo ya vehicle importation kitambo, but I don't know when that regulation was passed, but I hear is around the time of Uhuru's presidency. So people who reside abroad and would like to return to Kenya can take advantage. So wanaitangwa returnees. So if you have been abroad for more than 1 year and you are coming back to Kenya, you can take advantage of what we call duty-free importation. So there is a whole process. There is a whole set of requirements for you to be duty exempted, and I will highlight a few things. But also, you need to work with a very experienced clearing and forwarding agent, a person who has handled similar cases before, because the things of clearing at the port of Mombasa and negotiating for duty exemption requires expertise and experience. So if you have been abroad for, let's say, 2-3 years and you want to come back to Kenya, you can take advantage of importing a car from anywhere allowed the world, and then you can get your car without tax. You know that tax contributes to around 40% of the value of the car. So if you get your tax exempted, then you can get your car at a very, very good price. So what we are talking about here is, for a CX5 that will cost you, let's say, 3 million, then you can get tax exemption of around 950,000. Call it even 1 million. Okay. So meaning that if you are buying at 3 million, you will get it at 2M only if you are duty exempted. So if you are abroad, the most important thing for you to have is a proof of ownership of a vehicle. So if you reside abroad, you have to show that for the last 12 months, you owned a car. Okay? And then you have disposed that vehicle. So that is the first requirement. Ownership of a car for at least 12 months when you are abroad, and then you must show the proof that you disposed that vehicle. Disposing means that you sold that car. Because if you had a car abroad and you still have it under your ownership, then KRA and the government of Kenya does not see the need of helping you to get another car, because maybe your business abroad is not yet done. So you have to show that you had a car abroad and then you sold that car. So that is the first requirement. Then the other requirement, you must show that you are returning to Kenya through your passport stamps. So you have to show a stamp at the port of exit. So it doesn't matter which country you are living in, whether you are in Dubai, Japan, Australia, America. You just need to show that on your passport there is a stamp of exit of the country abroad where you used to live, and then you need to show that there is a stamp of entry into Kenya. Okay, that is the second requirement. Going back to the first requirement about the car ownership, there are two options. You can choose, if you have demonstrated that you owned a car, you can choose to sell that vehicle, or you can come with that vehicle into Kenya. You get my point? The vehicle you owned abroad, you can still import it into Kenya and get duty exemption for that particular car. But that car must meet the KEBS requirement for vehicles imported into Kenya, meaning that it must be 8 years of age or less, and then it must be a right-hand drive vehicle. So if it does not meet those requirements, then you can choose to dispose it or to sell it, and then you come to Kenya and buy another car as a replacement of the one that you sold. So that is the first requirement. The third requirement, I mean. The other requirement, I think the fourth one, is you have to claim your benefit within 90 days after you make your entry into Kenya. So if you are returning to Kenya, let's say in the next 1 week or 2 weeks, then you must start the process of importing your car actually before you depart from the country where you are residing. Meaning that you place your order so that you can start looking for the car. The car should start the shipping process so that by the time you arrive into Kenya, you start the process of, claiming the duty exemption immediately you arrive, because you only have 90 days to claim tax exemption. Sawa. So, and you know that process can take quite a long time within the port of Mombasa. So don't leave, let's say, 30 days to start the process. Start the process as soon as possible. So process your travel documents into Kenya. Immediately you arrive into Kenya, your vehicle should be arriving. So if you are planning to come to Kenya in the next 1 or 2 months, the time to place your order for importation is right now, so that the arrival of the car coincides with your arrival. Sawa. The other thing that you need to make sure is that you cannot sell a Suzuki Alto or a Mazda Demio or, I don't know, whichever low value car abroad and then come into Kenya and what you want to import a high value car, let's say a Prado. No, the value of the car that you will dispose or the value of the car that you owned must be within the same price as the car that you are going to import. Meaning that you can only import same value or cheaper car. You cannot dispose, let's say, a Toyota Allion or a Toyota Fielder and come and import a Prado. That KRA will not give you exemption for that. They will require that you have what we call the current retail selling price. The current retail selling price must be the same or less. Okay? So some people used to do these games that, when you are in the US, you can get, a receipt that, or an invoice that you sold your vehicle at a very high price, so that when it comes into Kenya, you can also import a vehicle that is of high value. KRA will not accept that. Them, what they do, they just need to see the chassis of your number. They look at what were the specs and everything, and then they look at what is the price of a similar vehicle in Kenya today if you are to buy a new model of 2025. And then they look at what is the price of the vehicle that you are importing today if you are to buy a 2025 zero mileage car. And then they see, do the price of those two cars go in parallel. Okay, so if you had a CX5 there, you have to buy a vehicle that has the same price of a CX5, and maybe that could be an X-Trail, or maybe that could be a Mitsubishi Outlander, or maybe something like a Harrier, things within the same range. But don't dispose a low value car and then pursue a high value car. So if you had a CX5, definitely you cannot come and import a CX8, because KRA will not accept that. What other thing did I need to mention? So if you have a family there, you can also claim a vehicle for your family. Each family member can claim a vehicle for themselves as long as they prove there was ownership of a car. So maybe in the US or in Australia, sometimes people can have vehicle individually as members of the family. So the wife has a car, the husband, the children. So each one of them can sell their cars and come back into Kenya and claim, duty exemption. All right. The other thing is that once you return, you are a returnee. So every 4 years, the government can allow you to claim another car, as long as the vehicle you had has been sold. So you cannot own more than one vehicle that has not been paid duty for. So let's say this car has been exempted for tax. I will use it for 4 years, and then I will have to sell it. And the one whom I sell to must pay the tax, okay, at that particular point in time. And tax for locally used vehicle is calculated differently. They have to pay the tax so that I can apply again to import a car from Japan, and then or from any other location, and then I get a second round of duty exemption. I don't remember exactly how many times of 4 years you can be allowed to be duty exempted, but I think that is indefinite. As long as you are a returnee, every 4 years you can buy a tax-free vehicle. But I need to double check that. All right, and then the most other important thing, and that's why I told you need an expert, is because KRA say that they will ask for all the documents I have mentioned to you, the stamp of exit, the stamp of entry, the proof of ownership, the proof that you sold the vehicle, all those documents, they will ask all those documents, but they say they will ask all those documents, but not limited to those. So they could ask for extra documents. And some of the extra documents that they could ask for is end of your work contract, maybe end of your work visa, end of your work permit, expiry of your stay, all those things. So depending on who is your clearing agent, KRA can choose to give you a hard time or an easy time. So the things I have highlighted there, they are not conclusive. So that's why I'm saying you need to get an expert clearing company that knows how to deal with these clearing affairs. All right. So let us keep it here. If you need referrals to certain contacts within the clearing staff at Mombasa, I can refer you to them. So don't worry, guys. Reach out to someone with the number that I have shared here in the description box, or within the screen, and then they will connect you to the clearing companies in Mombasa that have expertise. That I always ask these questions before I tell people what to do. So take advantage of this opportunity if you are abroad, and then let me know how it goes. Cheers, and see you in my next video.